12 years in the making, 12 years later, CM Punk cashes in a favor that Paul Heyman himself said he would do, and that is walk down that aisle with CM Punk in the main event of WrestleMania. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Money Mike. This is Ringside Cinema. And I want to talk about the favor finally being revealed on SmackDown and the added twist to this triple threat match. And the added question that everyone now wants to know, and if I can may quote Bobby Heenan here on this, whose side is he on? And I'm talking about Paul Heyman, because clearly he does not want his best friend CM Punk fighting his tribal chief. You know, Roman Reigns kind of laughed off the idea of Punk saying the favor was that Paul Heyman has to manage him and be in his corner for WrestleMania, and Roman was like, dude, like, hey, Paul, let him down easy. And Heyman was like, I can't do it. Like, he couldn't do it, which adds so much intrigue to the match. Like, wait a minute, why can't Heyman like do that? And it's like Heyman is like in the middle here. He's torn. And I said this on Twitter last night. I felt like all three participants, or all four, I guess, and counting Paul Heyman, Seth, Roman, Punk, Heyman, all did a tremendous job in that segment. You know, I love Seth Rollins. Like, after Paul Heyman refused to tell Punk no, Seth is just laughing off to the side, like laughing at Roman Reigns for this, and like, hey, I told you, I told you. Like, it's funny how justified Seth Rollins and Drew McIntyre are both coming off right now with this whole CM Punk problem. Maybe Roman Reigns should have let Seth Rollins finish him at the Garden. Or maybe Roman Reigns could have just took care of him after War Games. And with the added twist that Paul Heyman must manage CM Punk, he must walk out with him. How will this play out during the match? Because clearly Roman Reigns is not happy. And so I'm going to be curious to see over these next 2 weeks, especially once we get to that go home show, the SmackDown before night one, what is going to happen? Like, where else is this story going to take us, right? We've seen all this where Seth is trying to keep CM Punk from the main event of WrestleMania. He doesn't want Punk in the main event of WrestleMania. And obviously, now that he failed at doing that, obviously, but he also blamed Roman Reigns and Paul Heyman for doing that and being the reason that CM Punk is in that position to begin with, in which Roman Reigns even said that CM Punk is only in that position because of him. And obviously, Heyman is, again, Paul Heyman, like, we saw this when he was managing the new bloodline and was solo, and how stressed he was getting because of the way that Solo and the new bloodline were acting, and Heyman was just getting stressed out. And by the time that the new bloodline took him out and put him through the table, I mean, Heyman just looked tired. He was so stressed out, and you could see that again on SmackDown last night. Like, Heyman looked torn. Like, you could tell, like, seeing his best friend, Tribal Chief, basically fighting over him is stressing him out. And obviously, he doesn't want that to be the case. So I'm going to be curious what they do over these next 2 weeks. What is going to be that next plot point for this match? Because we all thought that the favor was going to be something to do with like John Cena, Cody Rhodes, like CM Punk was going to be added into the match, or maybe the stipulation would be added that the winner of the match gets added to that match on night 2. But obviously now that is not the case. Now I have seen other people online, I've seen other fans bring up the idea of Seth Rollins being managed by Paul Heyman. Now, I don't think Seth Rollins needs a Paul Heyman. I think Seth is good on his own. He can cut a promo. He's good in the ring. Like, he doesn't need a Paul Heyman type of manager or wise man in his corner. But the idea that Seth and Heyman are working together and colluding, and Punk and Roman have no idea, and there's this grand scheme, because again, Seth Rollins is the architect, so he could be building out this grand scheme to take Paul Heyman from both CM Punk and Roman Reigns. Maybe he does want Paul Heyman to be his wise man going forward. That would be an interesting twist. Because again, we sit here and talk about, oh well, who is Paul Heyman going to leave WrestleMania with? Like, yeah, okay, he's going to be managing CM Punk. He's going to be in the corner of CM Punk. But does that mean he's going to be in the corner of Punk for the whole match? Because if Roman Reigns says, "Hey, Paul, help me," is he going to do that? And that's what I'm curious about. Because is there going to be a big betrayal coming where obviously you have this match being 3 top baby faces? There's no defined heel in this scenario, in this match. So are we getting a heel turn from either Punk or Roman? Well, it has to be, I think at this point it has to be CM Punk, right? Because we've seen CM Punk come back. He got the big fanfare. Oh, hey, he was gone for 9 years. He went to AEW. Fans are happy to see him back. Are we going to kind of get a CM Punk heel turn? Because, right now, Roman Reigns, he's this beloved babyface. Roman Reigns redeemed himself in the eyes of the fans with his Tribal Chief run. I don't know if he would ever be booed again. I think the fans just want to cheer Roman at this point and throw their ones in the sky every time he comes out. So a CM Punk heel turn where with Paul Heyman, and again, we go back to 2013. We go back to Money in the Bank. Paul Heyman hit CM Punk in the back with a steel chair. Boy, oh boy, if Paul Heyman hits Roman Reigns in the back with the steel chair, man, dude, Roman Reigns is gonna have some PTSD. Like major PTSD. I mean, Seth Rollins, you had Sami Zayn. Now, if his wise man does that to him, like, man, that's gonna be crazy. But the idea of CM Punk essentially turning heel, I feel like someone in this match has to turn heel via winning this match. And I feel like Paul Heyman is that key in all of this, where Paul Heyman is going to end up managing the winner of this match. Now, I could see a scenario where both CM Punk and Roman Reigns are so bitter, they're fighting over Paul Heyman, that they get lost over, or they lose track of Seth Rollins, so to speak, and Seth walks away the winner while Paul Heyman is still trying to deal with this whole situation with Punk and Roman. But could Seth Rollins rescue Paul Heyman? Because, if Paul Heyman, we've seen Paul Heyman get stressed out before. He was stressed out with Solo in the new bloodline. And could Seth kind of offer him, that, he can open up the doors for Heyman to get away from Punk and Roman. To be his wise man, right? Seth is the architect, right? That's what they used to call him. He's a visionary. What if, it's one of those things where Seth Rollins right now is as much of a key player in all this as Roman Reigns right now. Or as Paul Heyman. I'm sorry, Paul Heyman. And I go back to Roman Reigns. I feel like, to me, this is going to be the long-term run of Roman Reigns versus CM Punk. I don't know if we're going to get it at SummerSlam. I think with Roman's schedule, they could try to push it off until next year's WrestleMania in New Orleans, which would be kind of interesting if they were able to do that. I think that would be kind of interesting to a full circle moment. Especially if, let's say, CM Punk happens to be the world champion next year going into WrestleMania, and maybe Roman Reigns wins the Elimination Chamber, or he wins the Royal Rumble and he goes on to challenge CM Punk, and maybe CM Punk gets Heyman to betray him, and Heyman betrays Roman in the match to help CM Punk win, and this kind of ends up being the thing that brings Roman and Seth. That's, to me, is that there's so many key things in this match that Paul Heyman is going to be this key to this whole entire match. Is he going to be in Punk's corner the whole match? If Roman asks him to help, is he going to do it? Is Punk going to tell him not to help Roman Reigns? What is Seth Rollins' role in all this? Is he secretly working with Paul Heyman? Could Paul Heyman betray Roman Reigns? And then maybe Paul Heyman betraying Roman Reigns and aligning with CM Punk is the thing that mends the friendship between Seth and Roman, and this leads to a mini Shield reunion with Seth and Roman once again teaming up. There's so many possibilities coming out of SmackDown as we do head into this triple threat match at WrestleMania, and I'm excited for it. And I want to know how you guys feel. What did you guys think of the favor being revealed that Paul Heyman has to manage CM Punk in the main event of WrestleMania? And what kind of implications do you think it will have in the future for the WWE? Will it involve Roman? Will it involve Seth? Will it involve both of them? Comment below. And as a bonus for today, I will have a second video later this afternoon talking about the very unfortunate Kevin Owens injury and looking at potential replacement opponents for Randy Orton at WrestleMania. So, as always, I've been your host, Money Mike, and you've been watching Ringside Cinema.